I'm Spannondorf, the most on-time YouTuber in the world. A while ago, I made a tier list of every level in the hero story of Sonic Adventure 2, and now I'm here to finish the job. However, while I've been gone, some important information has come to my attention. In my previous video, I listed how many levels and bosses were in the game. While this list is still mostly accurate, the number of bosses wasn't exactly correct. You see, all 5 character fights are exactly the same, and Shadow also fights Bigfoot. On top of that, Rouge also drives a car, so that's another one off the list. So yeah, there's a bit of repeat content in this one, but those levels rank exactly the same as they do in the previous video. Anyway,
let's get the show on the road.
We start the game off with a mech level, and it's not bad. As a first level, it feels way better than Tails', even though the mechanics are exactly the same. First of all, there's way less roadblocks in this level. This level is called Iron Gate, but honestly the gates are all over Tails' level, where instead Eggman has these giant doors to break through. Now Tails has these giant doors too, and both he and Tails can outrun them occasionally, but Iron Gate actually makes them feel important, whereas Tails' they just felt like roadblocks. Every time you break into a new area, the intercom pops up to show that the military is freaking out about you being there. It's a small touch, but it's something absolutely necessary if you want to make doors a gimmick and make it actually feel good. Atmosphere. Plus, the level ends with them sealing a whole bunch of doors and you have to use a big missile to take them all out. This feels way better than Prison Lane's approach of just hide enemies off screen. Prison Lane feels like a boring walk through corridors, and Iron Gate feels like you're actually breaking into a military base. And all they had to do is actually put some sound design into it. It also made me forget that there's 2 needlessly long elevators. I get that this is the first level and you gotta teach them how to aim and shoot, but these are a bit much. This level is a B. I'm genuinely surprised. I can't imagine a mech level ranking higher than this.
This is Scorpion Troops Hotshot. Enemy movement has been detected. En route to intercept and destroy.
Copy that.
This sure is the same boss we already fought. So, in the Dark Story, I'm using mods. Most of these mods are visual, but I did turn on the Emerald Radar mod while I was recording. The mods don't affect the ranking though, they go by the base gameplay experience, so keep that in mind. Dry Lagoon is fine. I do think it has problems, and I think they all revolve around the turtle gimmick. Like Wild Canyon, this level is split into 2 sections. There's the tall cave-like section and the flat section. In Dry Lagoon, however, these sections don't mix. If there's an emerald on the top of section 1, there's no way to accidentally stumble upon it, unlike in Wild Canyon where the wind can blow you up past the emerald shards if it's in the upper part of section 1. The turtle is also really unintuitive in general. Like, you have to save it from the gun robots, that's cool, then jump on top of it, then press the interact button. It's honestly one of the most interactive gimmicks in the game, but that's what makes it so jarring. Pressing the interact button while you're just standing there doesn't seem like a mechanic that would be in this game, and aside from this moment, it isn't. And that's a sea turtle. This is a desert, so you get a sea. This level is just kind of boring. The biggest issue is that the level is just too long. The visuals are all samey, there's nothing really interesting, and it feels like one of the longest levels in the game. I complimented Iron Gate for ramping up the spectacle until you hit the climax of you knocking down all the gates with the big rocket. The climax to this level is that the pillars you knock down, now do that 3 times. There's a lot of standing around and waiting, aiming on small platforms, but fortunately there's no obnoxious enemy placement to instantly kill you. There's just this guy. This happened one time when I was trying to jump too, and I'm glad it didn't kill me. Other than Bigfoot, this is probably the worst dark stage so far. It's a D tier. This part is good though. I like this part. This stage is pretty good. It's got some nice spectacle, and as an introduction to Shadow, I'd say it does pretty well. It even matches. There's a lot of sections where you just kinda let the game play itself, not to mention the explosions happening everywhere, but they felt avoidable, unlike a level like Mission Street. There's really nothing else to say about this level, it's just a good, well-paced level. Not S tier, but definitely at least high B. I'll be generous though. This level gets a low A tier. Hey, you know, I just want to ask you guys, get down, maybe leave a comment. This is just a, worse death chamber, right? Like, there's nothing else going on here that's unique, except for the Scarab Beetle, which makes it worse. Like, it's not worse enough that you're like, this is actively bad compared to Death Chamber, because Death Chamber itself, it isn't that great. But, yeah, I'd still say it's a C tier, just like Death Chamber. I actually like this level quite a bit. There's no annoying enemy placements, but there's nothing too exciting either, and that's actually one of the things I kind of like about the stage. It's dark, only being lit by the glowing markings on the wall and the explosions of enemies. It's a surprisingly atmospheric stage for one that's, like most mech stages, just a bunch of corridors. And it makes sense as Eggman is arriving on the Ark for the first time. It hasn't been on in 50 years. Even the music is pretty subdued, which makes it stand out a bit more compared to most of the guitar tracks in this game. Gameplay-wise, like I said, it's just a bunch of corridors, but with nothing frustrating when it comes to enemies or platforming. There's plenty of moments in this level that just throw a bunch of things in your face to target to make a big number go up, and I appreciate that. This is just a nice, slower paced level that gives you the space needed to embrace the mech gameplay. I'm gonna give it a B. These Eggman levels seem way better designed. Another mech level, and it's also pretty good. Crazy! Okay, so this one's also a B. Just gonna throw that one out there, but it's getting pretty close. This is the exact opposite of the previous level. You're just out here, an egg, or perhaps a man, and your mission is just to blow up everything. There's so many things to blow up. Jets, bye, doors, see ya, stoplights. Do you think Dr. Eggman, the greatest scientific genius of the world, follows traffic laws? You know what? Never mind. Forget what I said before. This is an A tier. This is absolutely the best designed mech level so far. Even in situations like this, where in theory this enemy would be like the ones that didn't base, that just drops down on you and instantly kill you. But wait! The game has been putting these metal boxes in your way that you have to destroy. To give you the item that lets you destroy these boxes in this level. So before you jump, seeing these boxes on the ledge, you stop to shoot them. Once you do, the enemy drops down, so you shoot him and then jump. The way you've been conditioned to play this level makes it unlikely that you'll ever run into this gun enemy. In Hidden Base, there's nothing like that. You just jump, the gun robot flies down at the same time, and you die. Anyway, yeah, this level's an A. It really makes you feel like Eggman.
Eggman, you won't get away with this!
Okay, so I was tabbed out for half this fight, and I won. We've been through this. It's neat. This level is probably the one that benefits the most from the Emerald Radar mod. You know, I say that, but then I think a bit into the future, and I think I might get a bit mad. Security Hall is a pretty well-designed treasure hunting level, and it's the first one that doesn't feel like a variant of one we already went through with Knuckles. With all the lasers and the vaults and the money flying around, it really feels unique. The music is also the best Rouge music, including her theme. It's really good. Honestly, I could see this as a parallel to Aquatic Mine, since both have 3 sections that need to be unlocked using switches, but this leads to the biggest problem with this stage, the saves. Because of the random nature of the stages, they aren't always a problem, but if you get an emerald in one of these, then you're gonna have to go back up to the top and activate the button, and then it takes up a lot of your time, and you only have 5 minutes. Compound this with the regular Emerald Radar only showing you 1 emerald at a time, and you can't even stumble upon these by accident. It's a shame too, because if it weren't for the saves, this would absolutely be an A tier level, but I can't ignore the fact that getting one in the save can absolutely ruin your time. Rouge's best level, held back by an unfortunate gimmick. I gotta give it a C.
This is Flying Dog headquarters. Intruder found entering security hole. Preparing to attack.
Copy that.
This is basically Bigfoot, but no foot, and a character who can hit them from halfway across the stage. E tier. This stage is great. Just like Green Forest, White Jungle's main gimmick involves momentum, and that makes the level flow very well. There's also plenty of shortcuts you can find by using the somersault, which will usually reward you with a dash panel to negate the slowdown after doing one. And only 1 obnoxious enemy placement in the whole level. That's pretty good for this game. And the music, it's beautiful. Not too much to talk about beside that, just a very solid shadow level. One of the best in the whole game. S tier.
I found you, Faker. Faker? That hurt.
No time to hang out with the likes of you.
Citizens of Earth, lend me your ears and listen to me very carefully. My name is Dr. Eggman, the world's greatest scientist, and soon to be the world's greatest YouTuber. You are about to bear witness to the rise of the ultimate YouTube channel. There will be all the things you enjoy: react videos, meme compilations, and analysis videos as far as the eye can see. Now behold the subscribe button. Don't forget to ring the bell. allow me to demonstrate what it means to smash the like button. You have 24 hours to subscribe. Otherwise, you'll miss out on all of the really, really cool content.
Why are you so upset?
Our threats fell on deaf ears.
I'm picking up a signal from the emerald.
Fox Boy, wait for me!
This level feels like filler, but the kind that you'd miss if it was taken out, you know? It's 2 minutes long, 80% rails, and overall doesn't leave too much of an impact, but it's still a shadow level, which means it has a base level of enjoyment to it. You guys know I'm not the biggest fan of the rails over bottomless pit levels in general, and as far as those go, there's nothing really wrong with this one. I like how the game rewards you for jumping at the end with a fun flourish, and rails in general are more fun and functional than in a game like Sonic Heroes. The rails were just kind of boring, you know? All you do is hold down the crouch button and try your best to land on the rails, otherwise you just kinda die. Also, brief aside, what is with this enemy? Like, I know the gold boss is supposed to be more challenging to reach, but even when you do reach it, your homing attack just goes through it. What is this? It's not even the homing attack's fault. In this level, 10 seconds later, I can target a robot behind a tree, and I didn't even know it existed. But this enemy in particular is meant to be there for people who want to do a bit more, and then you're punished for it. Regardless of this random bad enemy, the level still gets a B. This boss is fine. You just mash the shoot button, then target the weak points as they appear. Falling down in the sand is an insta-kill, but if you're low on health, there are some healing items down here for you. In phase 3, he just spams his slam head move, which is way more threatening to Eggman than Sonic because of the size and speed difference. Nothing to write home about. C tier. So I put both of the karting levels as the worst in the game, because they are. But as far as levels where you actually play the main game goes, this is the worst. This level is way too big. On top of that, the iron boots took me an embarrassingly long time to find. I don't normally play this game from start to finish, I just pick the stages. So remembering that the iron boots were in this little pocket while also dealing with the worst controls in the whole game, yeah, I was already frustrated. I'm only holding down here, by the way. This is another one of those you are required to use the monitors to find anything quickly kind of levels. And the hints are obnoxious. The first hint for an emerald is spelled backwards, and the second and third hints are just the opposite. Not in a clever way, mind you, just needlessly wordy. This level suffers from every problem I've had with these levels, just thrown into one. Level too big? Yep. Sections that have limited access that require you to go down a specific path multiple times only to find out that the third emerald is right next to the first one? That's here too. Gravity physics from Crazy Gadget only worse? Sure, let's throw that in. Oh hey, Artificial Chaos is here too. E tier. Bad. Never played this level. In fact, this level is so bad, it retroactively puts Crazy Gadget in D tier.
Hand over those Master Emeralds. Give them to me.
Same fight. D tier. Look, I don't think I'm going to surprise anyone when I say this, but this is the best mech level. In fact, it's one of the best levels in the game. We go from the worst gravity mechanics to the best. Anti-gravity. Giving you a super jump you can use throughout the level is such a good idea, especially combined with the hover jets. This lets them design a level that isn't just a bunch of corridors. Even the artificial caves in this level don't act like they did in the Eternal Engine. At most, I'll say this level probably could have been cut in half. I know it sounds weird to say that because I really like the level, but you had 2 of these rail sections and they're both good. They can stay. But then you have 2 of these climbing and then descending sections, and not a lot is different between them. I spent 10 minutes in this level and still got an A. Some of the fat can probably be trimmed. That said, it's the most consistently good mech level, and both of the rail sections are great. There's even this fun drill mini-boss that you have to shoot down at the end. There's not much to it, but it's neat. While literally every other mech level feels like an entirely different game, thanks to the rails adding some much needed spectacle and momentum, on top of the momentum from the anti-gravity gimmick, this is the first mech level that feels like it embraces that it's in a Sonic game. And it's the last one. S tier.
What have you done to Sonic? I'll never forgive you for this.
Am I glad he's frozen in there and that we're out here and that he's the sheriff and that we're frozen out here and that we're in there and I just remembered we're out here. What I want to know is,
Where is Amy? She was standing right here. How do we have a mech battle while also keeping Amy captive? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. I don't get it. So, Final Chase. Hot take? I think this is better than Final Rush. Yes, Final Rush has better sense of speed than Final Chase, has better music than Final Chase, but you actually do more in Final Chase because you're not just on rails. The gravity cylinders in this stage remind me a lot of those wheels you could spin yourself on in the classic games. You know, the ones like in Carnival Night. And that makes them pretty fun even if they lack the overall momentum of the older gimmicks. They also naturally move you forward, so you don't really need to wrap your head around how they work. You just have to move forward. They do have the odd bug here and there, but so does the entire game, so who cares? Rails are kept to a minimum in this level, and that means the level can focus on being pure platforming. And I prefer that to Rail Grind. It's not hard, but really none of the game is hard, and it doesn't have as cool of an ending, but it's still an A tier, just at the bottom.
So, here we are again.
Yep. Do you think he's gonna shill again?
Nah, he got that out in the Eggman scene.
Oh. So we're basically just padding the runtime?
That's the idea.
You know, I guess you could say this video is a real gem.
I failed.
That was an emerald.
Alright, this level is 5 levels in 1. So you know what that means, it's time for a tier list within a tier list. Tails' section. Yeah, as you'd expect, this section isn't great. Guys, everything I dislike about the Tails level shoved into a bite-sized piece. Annoying enemies, aiming on small platforms, the works. The best thing this part has going for it is that it doesn't have 2 artificial chaoses aiming at you at once. That'd be horrible. Eggman section. This section has better moments than Tails' section, but I'd probably say it's worse overall due to having multiple sections where you have to deal with 2 artificial chaos at once. I guess I should clarify and say I'm talking about the long boys here, not the round boys. That said, here's how you deal with them. They act just like the shield mechs. Their main issue is that the attack is basically instant, where the mechs take their time. I guess I'd say it's on the same level as Tails. Whoa, C tier. Rouge's section. Rouge's section is fine except for the weird untextured black hole here. It's definitely the easiest and is a fitting final test for the gameplay style. B tier. Now Knuckles on the other hand, this is the worst one. I don't think I'm in the minority thinking that this is the worst one. It's honestly not as likely to kill you as the mech sections, but it's the most frustrating, and it's all due to these stupid tunnels. So all of Canada's Core has this gimmick where the time freezes when you hit the switch. I haven't mentioned it so far because, although it's a pivotal mechanic, it's been pretty self-explanatory. In Knuckles' section, you spend the majority of the time underwater, and in order to get through these tunnels, you need to stop time to stop the current. Pretty simple, only that the time you have is so strict, you'll be trying this for a while. You also learn a few things about the swimming mechanics in this game. Like, did you know that walking underwater is faster than swimming? I didn't. I mean, I guess it's the Sonic game. Why swim when you can run? Also, did you know that you keep your momentum when you grab an air bubble? That means that if you're going down to grab the bubble over this plasma floor, yeah, you'll fall into it. And I know, a lot of you are making the comment like, well, why didn't you just get the air necklace? Because I think it looks silly. I think the glasses and the necklace muddy up Knuckles' design, so I don't get them. Honestly, the bubbles were less frustrating than the tunnels. Once you get past them, the level's over, but as you could tell, I was really bothered by them. So yeah, worst section. Spoiler alert for Sonic section, I guess. E tier. This is obviously the best section, but I do have to point out that it puts an artificial chaos over a bottomless pit and just assumes you know it's a bottomless pit, when both of the mech levels use pits exactly like this to go down, and Knuckles and Rouge both had pretty vertically inclined levels. The same goes for this section with the rapids. I know the game kind of conditioned you to push against the rapids, but the camera goes like this and shows the snake's mouth, but turns out it's the wrong snake's mouth. Inside the arc there are 2 snakes. One tells only truth and the other only lies. B tier. Now what do I think of Canada's Core overall? I think it sits at a nice C tier. Nothing special, no one wants to replay this level, but as a final gauntlet it is its job okay. Okay, I think I might be the only one who thinks this, but BioLizard is probably the best designed boss in the game. It has a solid attack loop that's easy to understand, an arena that's well designed, and a really, really good song, even if you can't hear the lyrics until it was remixed a decade later. You start off outrunning its head, but if you run too fast, he'll start swinging his tail at you and you have to run the other way. It's a simple way of making the process of outrunning an enemy a bit more nuanced. Next, he'll shoot purple orbs at you that you need to jump over or roll under. Do this enough times and you can grind on his neck rail to hit him. Repeat this a few more times and instead of a rail, he'll summon orbs that you can use homing attack on to reach the core. These can shoot you, but I've never been shot by them. Do this until he has one hit left and he'll summon a bunch of orbs that you have to navigate through and land the last hit. That said, for some reason this final section is the easiest. I've never had any problems here. Probably should stick with the purple orbs, those are way harder. A tier. Genuinely a well-designed boss, and that's really rare for a 3D Sonic game.
Can you hear me, son? Shadow? He's very weak.
Okay, we've made it to the end. The Ark is on a crash course to Earth being piloted by the BioLizard. If we don't stop it, the entire planet is doomed. At this point, the gameplay could be one of those dumb car levels, and I'd probably still give it a C tier. But instead, it's actually fun. Although it's very simple. All you do is fly into the pink growths on the BioLizard. That's it. Each time you land a hit, you swap between Sonic and Shadow. Landing later hits can be tough because it just fills the screen with a bunch of obstacles. And sometimes you get hit by nothing, but if you're low on rings, you can fly past the BioLizard and switch to the other character. Final Hazard gets a very strong A tier. Playing this made me remember when final bosses in Sonic felt really cool, and I hope we get something like that again in the near future. Okay, so that's my tier list. Okay, this level gets an A just for existing as a reward for getting all the emblems. Like Final Hazard, it could have just been a palette swap of the racetracks with the stupid car levels and it still would have been a C, but instead it's fun. Okay, so that's my tier. The Chow Garden is fine, but it's not really my thing. I appreciate its existence, and it makes a nice gameplay loop between collecting rings, cores, and animals and using them in the Chow Garden. But it's, like I said, it's not really my thing. B2. Okay, finally, that's my tier list. I hope you enjoyed. It won't take me 30 years to make the next one. Hopefully.
What I want to know is where's the caveman?